there any prediction as to what might happen with inventory after July 1st COVID relief?
Yeah, so I said that, I mean, we're poised to have anemic inventory. I would say as long as rates remain this low, then we're poised to have anemic inventory. If rates begin to tick up, we have two things going on. There's a seasonal uptick happening right now. Okay, it's a good sign. We are seeing more listings hit the market. Okay, that's on the supply side. But if demand begins to change, if we start to see less mortgage applications in an environment where rates might go up, then that's where inventory does increase a little bit. But it's hard to imagine a market where we would see abnormal inventory unless something really, really changed. And so I would say we're poised to be tight, but hopefully we're poised to see a little bit more. Okay, I've been watching listings every Thursday and Friday. We're seeing 200 plus new listings hit the market. That's exactly what we should be seeing at this time of year. And so that's a good thing. And then Floriana asks, I would love to know, what homes are more affordable to first-time home buyers, single-family residents or condos? That's such a good question. So I would say condos, hands down. And I wrote about a month ago about the condo market. The condo market is appreciating, but it's not moving as quickly as the rest of the single family market. Remember, during a pandemic, I think we've heard that thing that everyone wants, that pandemic backyard. It's actually really true. It's not just that, sexy headline, and people really, really want that. And so we see it in the stats. They're more subdued for condos, even though, yes, the market has been rising. And so, as long as people can afford the HOA, right? And so Linda asks, where do you see the ceiling on the price increases? Yeah, well, in terms of ceiling, I'm not exactly sure what you mean. I would say it feels like it's very difficult to get beyond 20%. One thing to keep in mind, next month in April and May, we're going to have really saggy stats that we're comparing, hot numbers this year compared to really saggy stuff last year during the pandemic. So our numbers, I mean, they're going to be, probably far above 20%, but that's really because we're comparing to dual stuff last year. But how long can this market go? I wrote a blog post about that about 2 months ago. It was called something like this: how long can we keep going? I think there's a lot to consider there. And there's room left. It doesn't feel like it's sustainable to keep going at this 20% rate, though, because at some point, especially what we're seeing in California, is that we're seeing prices go up dramatically and we're not seeing wage growth follow. Okay, low rates at 3% have helped buyers afford these higher prices. And so that's why it's a big deal when rates do presumably go up or confidence changes or something, because then that could affect prices. And so that's my answer, non-answer. I would just say that we are poised to continue. How long can we go? I don't know, but it doesn't feel like that 2005 moment where, there's this adjustable rate mortgage thing about to reset. We just don't have that dynamic today. And Moko Street says, Sacramento area seems to follow what's going on in the Bay Area. The housing market in the Bay Area is still going strong and the price keeps going up. Will this be the course for the Sacramento area in your opinion? Well, I'd say yes and no, because we are poised to continue to see growth, but markets don't always go up. It's the most normal thing in the world. When I check, the Robinhood app on here, sorry, yes, I have Robinhood for those of you who hate that, but I check my stock prices and guess what? They are not always up. Sometimes they are down and I'm going, why did I buy that one? I should stick to real estate. But the same thing happens with housing where, prices go up and they go down. There is this real estate cycle where there's a season of growth, and then there's usually years where the market sloughs. And so what I would be shocked to see is if eventually we didn't enter a season where we do decline, because that's the most normal thing in the world. I think what's abnormal to me is this idea that the market will just keep going on forever. And, it's, when I back up the graph I showed you, 30 years of price trends, up, down, up, down, up, down. Now it's gone up the whole entire time. We're way up from where it used to be, but it's almost like we're doing these cycles to get here. And so I do expect that, we would go up, eventually prices will continue to rise, but I think that we'll have, a valley in the midst of that also. So hopefully that makes sense. So anyone else, any questions, any closing thoughts? It's been so much fun to be here today.
I see one more question in the chat saying, what would you say to a seller who is waiting to sell, trying to get more money as prices increase?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I think that everyone wants to time the market, perfectly. And I actually had this conversation with a listing agent who wants to talk to her seller who is asking this very thing. And so I just turned the table. I asked the listing agent, I tell you what, you tell me how much, when is the perfect time to sell Bitcoin? And it's crickets because it's like, well, I have no idea. I don't know when it's going to turn eventually. And I said, exactly. Sometimes in real estate we treat it like it's this mathematical nerd equation where we just look at the market and think that I can time it exactly perfectly, but at some point the seller has to look and go, we've had 10 years of growth, and am I comfortable cashing out right now at this moment? Would I be comfortable selling my Dogecoin or my stock or whatever right now? It can go up in the future, it might go down in the future, but does this line up with my lifestyle? And so it's an impossible question. I would say that we have a market where we've had a decade of growth, and where sellers are sitting in a prominent spot where they've had profound equity. I shared those graphs where the median price is up 300,000 plus. It's up 200% in Sacramento County from 2012. Can we go further? Sure. But I think at some point we look and go, yeah, I'm pretty cool with 200% growth. That looks like a pretty good place. And so, rather than trying to achieve that geeky metric, I mean, if you have a system down where the numbers tell you exactly when that time is, pay attention to that. But otherwise, I think that's an impossible question. So, I hope that helps. That's my answer, non-answer.
I'm sure it does. I don't see any other questions. So, with that, we can go ahead and wrap up. Thank you once again, Ryan, for sharing all of your knowledge and wisdom. Thanks to our Safe Credit Union Mortgage team for bringing this workshop to life. And we will see you next time.